There hasn't been a lot in the way of real news on the next James Bond, just a lot of speculation on who could be playing the role next. So I thought I should do some speculating myself. After Craig's final movie, No Time to Die, which some people have mixed opinions on, we've been waiting and some have been betting on who will get the role next. But the creators have said no one is in the running, they don't have a script, they don't know where they're taking the character next. The one thing we do know, though, is that the character is going to be a man, and we can assume that M, Q, and the new 007 Lashana Lynch are all going to reprise their roles. I've heard this earlier this week that Tom Holland was trying to pitch a Bond movie where James Bond becomes James Bond, which I mean is kind of what Casino Royale was. He becomes 007 at the beginning, and at the end he becomes the James Bond that we all know. I don't think we need any more prequels, and Sony seemed to agree, as his movie idea isn't going to happen. I heard that there was an idea of Tom Holland playing Bond, but this makes a lot more sense now, because no one really wants to see a young Bond unless it's a prequel. But I don't think anyone wants any more prequels anyway. And I don't think anyone wants to see Tom Holland play the James Bond role either. On top of that, he would be the youngest Bond, beating George Lazenby, who was 29. It seems like age is a big contributing factor on who could get the role, though. And it seems you'll be cut if you're too young or even too old. I just saw that Sam Heughan from the Outlander TV show, who was at the top of the pick for a little while, he actually did audition for the role back in the 2000s but lost to Daniel Craig. He has apparently been ruled out as he is too old for the role at 42, as they are looking for someone in their 30s, so that they can sign them on for even more movies, which means that Idris Elba would also be ruled out if this rumor is true, as he is 49, and by the time the next movie comes out or even starts filming, he would probably be well into his 50s, meaning that after a few movies he would be the oldest Bond, beating Roger Moore at 57. He is already older than Roger Moore was when he first signed on, so unless they wanted to make an old Bond movie, I don't think they'll ever get anyone who is older than Roger Moore was during his run. And if they want to see an old Bond movie, just watch The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. Idris Elba is also sick of talking about the role, and so he might get his wish, because soon no one will be asking him about the role because he's not going to get it. It seems like Tom Hardy is also too old for the role, as he is 44, and probably my pick for the new Bond, though I do think that he's too big for them to pick him. It seems like he's an obvious pick, though, because of movies like Mad Max, and after seeing him in Peaky Blinders, and of course Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, maybe he should just play a villain. Henry Cavill, who played Superman, and Geralt from The Witcher, who also auditioned for the role and got pretty far through the process. He was even the director Martin Campbell's original pick when making Casino Royale, but he was too young and labelled too fat to play the role, which is pretty funny to think about now. He too will be in his 40s soon, meaning he wouldn't be too old for the role, so he might not make the cut either, and he was one of the other picks I had for the role. He might actually be my pick now for the role after watching the underrated Man from U.N.C.L.E., where he may as well have been playing Bond during the Cold War. But if they keep saying no to too many of these people based on their age, they're going to miss the most important thing, which is performance, who's actually going to play the character the best. But based on the age rumor, there's only a couple of names that people have thrown out that could actually get the role, like Richard Madden from Game of Thrones, Robert Pattinson, who has had some good roles recently, like Batman. He was also in the Lighthouse movie, but I think his name got put up because of Tenet. The guy from Get Out and Black Panther, I don't know his name, so I refuse to learn it. John Boyega from Star Wars. None of these picks are really that interesting, so I'm not sold on any of them. I think we all agree that we don't want to see another serious Bond for a while. It was great that they brought back the seriousness of the Timothy Dalton movies and George Lazenby's masterpiece On Her Majesty's Secret Service, expanding on the character, making him more realistic. This Bond was also the only one that actually got a real arc, but I was worried that after the success of Craig's movies, they might decide to keep this aesthetic, but we need a return to a more traditional Bond. It's been a while since we saw Bond on any of the classic type of Bond missions, where he's infiltrating a base with gadgets and blows some shit up like the start of Goldfinger or Goldeneye, or maybe some espionage shit from like the From Russia with Love movies, We need a good mix of gadgets and maybe even some ones from the earlier movies. They referenced other gadgets in the Craig movies, and Skyfall even poked fun at the lack of the gadgets. But I mean, where are they? Anyway, what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be the next James Bond? And what do you think the next movie should be like? Should it be like the Craig movies, or should it be more traditional like the earlier movies? Anyway, like and subscribe.